There is a tap in my kitchen that dripped once every 4 seconds for 2 years, and I fixed it in 3 minutes without spending one single yen. The part that causes almost every dripping tap on Earth is a rubber disc smaller than a shirt button, and the plumber who charges you 15,000 yen to change it knows the job takes less time than boiling water for tea. So why has nobody ever shown you how to do it? It is 2 in the morning, and the house is quiet, the way only an old Japanese house can be quiet. The walls are thin, the floors are wood, and from the kitchen comes the sound. Tap, 4 seconds, tap, 4 seconds. Tap. You know this sound. You have lain in bed listening to it. You have done what I did, which is get up, walk to the kitchen in the dark, and press a folded towel into the bottom of the sink so the drop lands soft instead of loud. That is not a repair. That is a surrender. And you have done the other thing, too. You have turned the handle harder. A little more each week, leaning into it at the end. Giving it that extra push that says, stay closed this time. I want to tell you what that extra push is actually doing, because it is the opposite of what you think. But first let me tell you about the night I learned all of this, because I learned it the expensive way. I was 26. My first apartment in Saitama, 1 room and a small kitchen. The kitchen tap dripped. For 3 months, I turned it harder. For 3 months, it dripped anyway, a little more each week. Then one night at 11 o'clock, I put both hands on that handle and gave it everything I had, and I felt something let go inside the tap, and the handle spun loose in my hand like a toy, and water came up around the spindle and would not stop. I did not know where the shut-off valve was. I did not know there was a shut-off valve. I called the emergency plumber. He came at midnight. He was kind. He worked for exactly 3 minutes. Then he wrote me a bill for 18,000 yen, which back then was 2 full days of my pay, and he bowed and left. Quick word before I go further. The old methods my family uses. There is more of it than fits in any one video. I gathered the whole of it into a book you can buy in our pinned comment below. The book is the long version. If you want it, it is there. I will not mention it again. 2 weeks after that night in Saitama, I visited my wife's father in Nagano. He was a man who fixed things, not for money, just because things asked to be fixed. I told him the story of the plumber and the 18,000 yen, and I expected sympathy. He laughed. He laughed for a long time. Then he stood up, walked to the kitchen, opened the second drawer down, and took out an old film canister. Inside were 6 small rubber discs, each one dark and flat, each one smaller than a shirt button. He held one up between 2 fingers. This is what you paid 18,000 yen for, he said. This one cost me 50 yen. And then he said the sentence I have never forgotten. He said, the tap was not broken. You broke it, and that is the thing I need you to understand before we touch a single tool. Because everything you have been doing to that dripping tap of yours, the harder turn, the lean, the extra push at the end, all of it is the exact thing that is killing it. The drip did not cause the damage. Your hand did, and once you see why, you will never fight a tap again. So why does a tap drip in the first place? Let me show you what is inside, because it is simpler than you think. When you take the handle and the top off a twist tap, an ordinary tap, the kind with a handle you turn, you find one moving part, a brass screw called a spindle. And at the bottom of that spindle sits a small rubber disc on a little metal stem. In Japan, we call this piece the koma. When you turn the handle closed, the spindle screws down and presses that rubber disc onto a brass ring inside the body of the tap. The ring is called the seat. Rubber presses on brass. Water is sealed. That is the whole machine. One screw, one disc, one ring, nothing else. Now, rubber does not last forever. Water passes over it thousands of times a year. Hot water cooks it slowly. After 5 years, maybe 10, that soft disc turns hard. It shrinks a little. Tiny cracks open across its face, and through those cracks, water threads its way past the seal 1 drop at a time. Tap, 4 seconds. Tap. That is your drip, a tired piece of rubber. That is all it has ever been. Here is where almost everyone goes wrong, and I mean almost everyone, in every country. You feel the drip, so you turn the handle harder. And for one day, it works. The extra force squeezes the hardened rubber just enough to close the cracks. Then the drip comes back, so you turn harder still. Now think about what is actually happening down inside. You are taking a disc of hardened, cracked rubber and grinding it into a ring of soft brass with all the strength of your arm, over and over, week after week. The hard rubber cuts, the brass gives. Slowly, you carve a groove into that seat, the way a rope carves a groove into the edge of a stone well. And here is the truth that should stop you cold. Once the seat is grooved, no washer on earth will seal it. Not a new one, not an old one, not a golden one. The surface itself is ruined. Now you need the seat reground, or the whole tap replaced, and now, only now, you truly need the plumber. The drip was never the disease. The drip was the warning. Your hand was the disease. Let me put the money next to this, because the money makes it sharp. In Japan, calling a plumber to change one coma costs between 8,000 and 15,000 yen once the call-out fee is counted. In America, I am told the same visit runs $150 to $250. The part itself, the rubber disc, sells at every home center in this country for about 200 yen, and you get 2 in the pack. At the 100 yen shop, you get it for 110. That is a markup of about 100 times for 3 minutes of work. And the version I am going to show you first costs nothing at all. 0 yen. Because most of the time, you do not even need the new part. I will explain that trick in a moment, and it is the one you will rewind for. Understand, I do not think plumbers are cheating anyone. A plumber must charge for the drive, the truck, the years of training. The call-out fee is how he feeds his family, and for real work, he earns every yen. But a tired rubber disc is not real work. It is a jar lid. And in my grandfather's generation, every household in Japan knew this. Next to the sewing kit and the shoe polish, every family kept a small tin of komas. When a tap dripped, you did not reach for the telephone. You reached for the drawer. We have a word for this whole way of thinking, mottainai. It is usually translated as, what a waste, but it means something deeper. It means the thing in front of you still has life in it, and throwing that life away is a small disrespect. A tap that drips is not garbage. It is asking for one small kindness. So here is what my father-in-law showed me at his kitchen sink in Nagano, in the exact order he showed me. Do it in this order, and the whole job is 3 minutes. Skip a step, and you will make a swimming pool. The first step, he called closing the gate. Before you touch the tap, you must stop the water behind it. Look under your sink. In most homes, you will find a small chrome valve on the pipe. Turn it clockwise until it stops. Some of these valves have no handle, only a slot, and here's the first trick. A 10-yen coin fits that slot perfectly. Any thick coin does. If there is no valve under the sink, go outside to the water meter box, the small box with the blue lid near the street, and close the main valve inside it. Now the trick within the trick. After you close the valve, go back and open the dripping tap all the way. You will get a short rush of water, then a hiss, then nothing. That hiss is the last pressure leaving the pipe. Wait for the nothing. If the tap is open and dry, you are safe. My night in Saitama happened because nobody taught me this one step. 30 seconds. That is all it takes to make the whole job harmless. The second step, he called opening the crown. Look at the top of your tap handle. You will see a small button, usually red on the hot tap and blue on the cold. Slide a fingernail or a teaspoon under its edge, and it pops off like a bottle cap. Underneath is one crosshead screw. Turn it out, lift the handle straight up, and set both aside in a teacup so nothing rolls away. Now you see a large 6-sided nut where the handle was. This is the cap nut, and it is the only place in this whole job where you need a tool. One adjustable wrench. But before the wrench touches the metal, here is the trick my father-in-law was most strict about. Wrap one layer of cloth, a handkerchief, a piece of an old shirt around the nut first. Bare steel on chrome leaves scars that never polish out, and he said you can read a man's character in the tooth marks on his taps. Cloth on, wrench on, turn to the left. It gives with one firm pull, then spins loose by hand. The third step is the reveal. He called it lifting the heart. Pull the spindle straight up and out of the tap body, and look at its foot. There it is. The coma. A small rubber disc sitting on its metal stem. The piece your whole house has been arguing with for months. Tip it out into your palm and read it. The rubber will be hard, maybe cracked, and pressed into its face, you will see a shiny circle, a ring, like the ring inside a tree. That ring is the shape of the brass seat, stamped in by every hard turn you ever gave it. That ring is the argument. Now the fourth step, and this is the 0 yen trick, so listen closely. He called it the flip. Take the rubber disc and pry it off its stem with a fingernail. It comes off like a button. Now turn it over. Look at the underside. It is smooth. It is soft. It is unworn. That face has never touched the seat, not once in 10 years. Press it back onto the stem upside down, and you have a fresh sealing face for exactly nothing. A flipped coma seals like new and will often hold for another year or two. This is what the film canister in his drawer was for. Half the discs in it had already been flipped once. If your rubber is truly finished, cracked all the way through on both sides, then you replace the whole coma. The pack I keep in my own drawer now is made by Seinai, 2 pieces for about 200 yen at any home center, and the 100 yen shops sell their own version that works the same. One pack is a decade of dripping taps, and while the tap is open, do this one small extra thing, because you will not believe the difference. Take your cloth, press it over the tip of a chopstick, put it down into the tap body, and twist it against the brass seat a few times. It comes up gray with grit and mineral crust. That grit was chewing your washer from below the whole time. 10 seconds of polishing doubles the life of the new seal. Nobody does this. Everybody should. The last step, and the one that protects everything, he called closing with a light hand. Drop the coma back in, rubber down. Screw the spindle back in. Cap nut on, and here is the measure. Finger tight, then 1/4 turn with the cloth and the wrench. That is all. No more. Handle on, screw in, button cap pressed home. Then open the gate again, and open it in 2 stages. Half open first. The tap will cough and spit air. Let it finish. Then open the valve fully. Now the test. Close the tap using only 2 fingers. Only 2. If it closes and the drip is gone, and it will be, you are done. A healthy tap closes like the lid of a jam jar. If it ever needs your whole hand again, do not push. Open it up and look, because it is asking. The first time you do this, it will take you 10 minutes, because your hands will be learning. The second time, it takes 3. I have timed it. One honest note before we move on, because I do not want to send you under the wrong sink. Everything I have shown you is for the twist tap, the kind with a handle you turn in circles. If your tap is the single lever kind, the kind you lift up and swing side to side, the part inside is different. It is a ceramic cartridge, not a rubber coma, and it costs more, 2,000 or 3,000 yen, though the job is still only screws and 1 nut and still yours to do. But look around your home. The laundry tap, the outside tap, the bath taps in most older homes. These are almost always twist taps, and every one of them carries a coma waiting to be flipped. Start there. Now let me pull the camera back, because this was never only about one tap. A tap dripping once every second loses about 6 liters of clean water a day. Over a year, that is more than 2,000 liters. In this country, we measure things in baths, so hear it this way. That is 10 full bathtubs of clean, treated, paid-for water, poured down the drain to wash nothing and warm no one. If it is the hot tap dripping, you are paying to heat those 10 bathtubs too. And the water is only the beginning. That slow drip is what paints the rust-colored stripe down the back of your basin. It is what keeps the sealant around your sink damp so the black mold can settle in. And in a Japanese summer, damp never stays alone for long. It is what rots the cabinet floor under a slow weeping valve. A drip is never only a drip. It is the first small hole in the side of the ship. My father-in-law fixed taps until the year he died, and it was never really about the yen. It was motinai, the real meaning of it, respect for the object. The tap was made by someone. The water was cleaned by someone. Letting either one waste away out of laziness was, to him, a quiet kind of rudeness. And one evening at that kitchen sink in Nagano, drying his hands on the cloth we had just used on the cap nut, he said the thing I have carried for 40 years, and it is the whole point of this video. A house does not break all at once. It asks quietly first. The drip is the house asking. Answer while the question is small. So here is what I want you to do tonight, before bed, and it costs nothing and takes 2 minutes. Walk your home and put a dry cup under the spout of every tap. Kitchen, bathroom, laundry, the outside tap if you have one. In the morning, look in the cups. Any cup with water in it has just told you where your house is asking. This weekend, close the gate, open the crown, lift the heart, flip the coma, close with a light hand. 3 minutes, 0 yen. Then go down to the comments and tell me 2 things. Tell me what country you are in and how long your tap has been dripping, a week, a year, 10 years. I want to know the record. And when you fix it, come back and tell me the time on the clock. Because I read every comment and I am collecting 3-minute stories. Next time, I am going to show you what we do about a toilet that runs all night, hissing away your money while you sleep. And I will tell you now that the whole problem usually comes down to one rubber flap and a chain that is exactly 2 links too long. 2 links. You will not believe how many thousands of yen those 2 links are costing you until you see it. Until then, keep your hand light, keep a cloth on the wrench, and listen when the house asks.